we were definitely watching the show Greenleaf at the time, and I think it was Lady May. That's my girl. She had said something about sanguine. I said sanguine.
Sanguine means to be optimistic in adversity. So, and through adversity.
That's right.
So, you know, that is literally our lives as gay black men, especially living
Mhm.
in the South.
Welcome, Monny and Chann. Welcome to Love Unboxd. I'm excited to have you all here. Let's get into it. So, basically, where I want to start is completely from the beginning, right? That's basically where any good love story starts. It's the heart of like how you all got together, right? And so, my first question is really for you all to kind of take us back to the start, right? What drew you to each other, and then also like who were you at the time when you all got together, that really made this connection possible. So let me know who y'all are, and then bring us to like what made this connection possible from where you were in your relationship at that time. Well, as individuals, excuse me, at that time.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, we were very different people when we first met, and I feel like we've been able to evolve in who we are today. So I feel
Mhm.
like today we have all these roles, like we're husbands, we're business owners, we have a brand together. But when we first met, we were literally kids who did not know that any of this stuff was even possible. We weren't like we our relationship was like a secret. I feel like the first year we were together because we were just so private because just to be honest, we had neither one of us had ever brought like a man around the family before. So we were kind of like, okay, this is a brand new relationship. Um, we're both like 20, 24, 25 at the
We
moment.
were well.
Mhm.
We were 20. I was 23 at the time. I was still getting my bearings in Charlotte. That was what the third year I was
Yeah.
here in Charlotte, and I think you had literally came back for like a week, and you would end up coming to my art show that evening,
Yeah.
which was an amazing time. I feel like I
He
was
was heavy
getting,
into art
yeah, I
back
was.
then. Yeah. And I was a painting instructor back then. So again,
Mhm.
very different life. We connected on art first, and a lot of people don't know that. Like we were legitimately both artists going into this relationship. Now we like do a little bit of everything and barely paint anymore, but that was a whole different story when we were younger. So and then I feel like we've been able to kind of just grow together and evolve together from being those like art boys to now being quite literally like business owners, married. Everything is a lot more serious, and I feel like we have a lot of I don't know. We're like the dads in our community these days. Like I feel like
Come
we
on,
are here.
dads.
We love to be role models. So that's kind of who we are today and who we were back then.
Oh, I appreciate, you all kind of like taking us back to like who you were like during that time, and like how that has kind of like shaped you all to where you are right now. And so I want to know, like, how would you describe the energy between you all? What makes your bond feel different from anything that you've had before? And I know that like when we were having conversation before the podcast, like I know that you all had mentioned, how you all had to really navigate that and build that energy with one another over time. And oftentimes people are not able to understand that it just wasn't just there, or it wasn't always just there. It had to be something that was built and nurtured over time. And so tell us a little bit about like the energy behind you all, and like how you were able to build that over time.
Um, so at least for me and my perspective, I say there was an initial spark. There was an initial spark between us. There was something that gravitated me to him. Either I'm repelled or gravitated towards people in general. I've been leaning more into that understanding. But I also found out that when you are falling, or the nuance of love and what that means, there's a heaviness that also comes with it as well.
Mm-hmm.
With the heaviness, we both made a conscious choice to make a continuance of carrying the weight of that with one another, because at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, we both made a commitment to kind of care for our inner child at the end of the day with one another.
Yeah.
So we went in it with a blazing spark, and that's when people and your friends kind of go about it like, hey, you have rose-colored glasses on. But once you step away from that and you get to see the insides of a person, what are their anxieties, what are their fears, all these things put a lot more weight onto the relationship. But the choice and choosing, to kind of wave some of these things away and see that, hey, like you're safe with me
Hmm.
and I'm safe with you. And just knowing that I have somebody who made that choice to see me in my fullness and also got to see them within their fullness, it ascended a growth beyond my understanding because I never had this as a vision growing up, and we're now making it possible. So
Yeah.
it's truly a relationship of possibilities.
Yeah. I don't know what else to add on to that. That was beautiful, but I feel like that's literally who we are, just such different people at our core. So I think that as your relationship matures, you get to really see how you can balance each other out. Like he's a Cancer and I'm a Capricorn.
Ooh.
So
And it's
I
fluids.
am very like by the book. I'm a rule follower. I'm a very structured person. I don't play about my calendar. He is more like free flowing.
Break the
So
rules,
break the
creative
rules,
I can see
rebel.
chaos,
that. I can see it.
spontaneity.
Yeah. So I mean, it really helps the relationship in a lot of different ways because, like, in moments where I'm being too serious, I have somebody that adds levity to my life, and vice versa. In moments where he like needs a little bit more structure or needs to build out something, then that's what I'm here for as well, to kind of like set that vision for our relationship. And then on
Yeah.
the other side of it, it's just that you really have to um, learn people's love languages. I had to learn kind of like what his was initially, and make sure that I wasn't applying my love languages to him. Like for example, I'm huge on words of affirmation, and he's like more of like a
Acts of
acts of service
service.
person. So
Yeah.
I need to make sure that I'm loving him with acts of service versus words of affirmation, and vice versa. So
We're truly a self-reflected mirror of
Yeah.
what we both require, just for
yes.
the self-internalized work. And he brings that out of me, and I bring that out of him.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's beautiful too because there's safety in that, right? And I think Monty, you had like mentioned safety in your relationship and, building that, right? And so I'm wondering like what part of your relationship, right, or the love that you all give to one another, feels the safest? Like, what about your relationship feels like comfort, feels like home, right? To you, based off of like what you all just shared. I mean, you shared about the love languages piece. You shared about like your zodiac signs. You shared about safety, and so what part of that feels like home, and what part of that love feels the safest for you?
Mm. That's a good question.
Mm.
Um, we use the word home a lot because we try to recreate home in every environment that we're in, especially if we're there for an extended amount of time. So we try to bring our essence of home. And home for us and what we establish together is, I don't know how to describe it. It's energy, it's good vibes. Like, it's not necessarily a word, it's just what we bring to a space. It's like authenticity, good intentions.
Hmm.
And I feel like just love. Like our home is a place of love, it's a place of relaxation, it's a place of peace. We don't like chaotic energy. So anything that we are bringing to the world is a reflection of that definition of home for us.
If I
Mm.
were to plug it into an action, for me, the way I feel like I create a sense of home within our safety is when I cook. And when I cook in environments, um, I'm creating nourishment. I'm creating
Hmm.
within the space, and it comes with a whole energy. I need to clear
Hmm.
the entire space to make us feel comfortable. I need to create a safe and comforting environment, and then we're both sitting down in front of each other, enjoying food, nourishing our spirit. We're having conversation. We're putting away phones, and we're creating that safety. It begins as a beacon that starts from there, and then it sets the tone to the rest of the evening,
Hmm.
the days, and the rest of the months going forth in here on out.
Yes. It's funny that you say that because one of the first videos that I saw from you all was Chan coming down the stairs. I remember this vividly. Coming down the stairs, he was whispering to the camera about like, "Oh, my husband does not like when I'm in the kitchen, and he does not want me there when he's cooking because X, Y, and Z." And I just felt it was like so funny because like I understand that. That is a truth that I feel. Okay, Money. That is something that I understand because I don't want you near. What I'm doing is I'm creating a vibe. I'm creating an experience. But there's nourishment that's being filled in this pot, right? And so I don't need you coming down here messing that up.
Yeah.
So I get it and I understand. And so thinking about some of those like early moments, what was that experience like being able to have that in your home and in your space and creating that safety, but then sharing that with the world, right? Tell me a little bit about the decision behind like, I think this is something that's beautiful and I want us to be able to share it with other people.
That was on you.
Well, I mean, I really don't think that it was like a conscious decision that we made, if I'm being completely honest. Like, it
Mm,
was just, we were vibing, capturing moments around the house. Cause I mean, we always just like to capture moments. I almost view social media as like a personal diary. It's like a visual diary. I can go back to what I was doing on this day 3 years ago and like have video documentation of where I was at in my life, which, that's why my name is Chan Daily on social media, is because I really do try to upload a video every single day, because it's not for building a brand, even though a brand is there now. It
mm,
initially just started as me just trying to document our lives in hopes that like one day our kids will see it, or like I'll be able to see it in the future and just be able to track my growth. Because as an annoying Capricorn, I feel like we love to kind of like be better in
yeah.
every time. I literally will go back to this time last year if I'm feeling discouraged and say, "Oh, look at how much you've grown." So really, it's just like something I do to track my personal growth, and people just so happen to be watching it. So that's the truth behind it. And now that it's grown, and now that we see what people like and things of that sort, then we can kind of incorporate. That's why our business was made, because we were like, okay, people see these moments that we're just capturing in our home that's just authentic to us, but they're saying that they now want to experience that. I don't know how to make that happen, so maybe we should just start to have events and invite our community out to it, because I
Yeah.
mean, to be honest, like, our followers have changed our lives in a lot of different ways. So for me,
Yeah.
I'm like, any way I can give back to people that have helped me or helped us in any way that I can, I'm gonna do it. So that's how I was viewing it initially. It's like, I just want to feed people that support us, and then it grew into a business. It was very organic.
Yes, I think that's where you find the most growth is in authenticity, right? We set out on this just to be our authentic selves, just to document our experiences, our lives, moments, and to hopefully be able to share this with our children and our grandchildren, down the road. Little did you know you were going to be sharing it with millions of people, dare I say, millions of people who can connect also with your experience. And so that's something that I love. And I love being able to learn about like your origin story, learning about, who you all were, but also who you're becoming. And so I want to transition a little bit more into like that love, that growth, and navigating daily life together, right? Some of those messy truths, some of those experiences that you all have had to be able to navigate life as Monty and Chann today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so, my first question is, really, how do you balance your individual family traditions with the traditions that you are creating as a couple as well?
I think for us, we kind of set the tone to breaking a lot of family curses and
Mm,
traditions. Everyone's getting a little bit older, so it's like the baton is literally being passed to us, to the ones they seem, liable to do so. And we're happy to do that. That's literally a dream that we both had. So our vision kind of aligned on that, and we started executing. So just as like a little bit of background, my grandmother, she did Sunday dinners every single Sunday. So I was used to having a large group of people to do that. Fast forward, moving to Charlotte, we cultivated that space here by inviting family and friends. And now it's come to the point where, as you said on the last segment, that people want the sense of home and what that feels like. And I'm like, we're literally people that can usher in that type of energy and space. It feels natural to us. We love to host. We're people of servitude at the end of the day. So it's
Hmm.
a little bit more easier for us.
Yeah, I agree. So, I feel like we didn't really have a lot of traditions growing up, if I'm being completely honest, like in my family when it comes to
Yeah.
holidays. Of course, we would decorate and we would make the house an experience. So I feel like if anything, I took away because my mom, she loves to decorate. So I feel like that's kind of what I add
Hmm.
to all of our events or things that we're hosting in the family. Like
The
I
tree in the background.
put together the tree. Like I'm the one who's already always decorating the events, and I get that from my mom because she's an events person. So
Yeah.
um, I feel like the trying to get people into like a different world almost is kind of what I try to do and what I probably take from my family and our traditions, even though they weren't like laid out traditions. I do think that establishing a vibe in a place and making it look nice and like just making people feel like they are in a different world is kind of something that my family did a lot and that I take away. But it is a very beautiful thing to be able to now have our own traditions that are bleeding out into our family members. Like, for example,
Yes.
um, my family on our side, we always kind of like rented out Airbnbs and we would have like a beach house for Christmas. That was kind of like the gift to ourselves. And then he mentioned his grandmother earlier. She passed away a couple of years ago, and we were trying to figure out how to establish new traditions in on his side of the family. And that's kind of something that we took from my side and went over to his side. Like, okay, let's rent a house and like have a whole experience set up for your side of the family. And they had never experienced anything like that
Never.
before. And now it's a tradition on that side. So now it's a joint
Yeah.
family tradition. So I think that it's cool being able to do that type of stuff for our family now.
Yeah, I love that, and I'm noticing a theme here with some guests in the conversations around creating those traditions, you know, in your relationship, right? It's like finding ways how can you bring something from a past experience or a familial experience, whatever it may be, into how you all are creating your connection and building that with one another. And when you're doing that, it's going to be really important to ensure that that foundation is stable, right? And so I'm wondering, how do you all keep your lives like also grounded? Like, how do you stay grounded in real life while also navigating like, good days, bad days, and the growing pains?
For me, I feel like, and it's a lesson that constantly comes up, and this is always going to come up with any relationship. It's when
Hmm.
you get really ensued in a relationship, and a
Hmm.
relationship is never 50-50 in how you feel. My partner may feel 20% one day, and then I'll have to hold
80%.
80% of it. And then
Come
vice
on.
versa. And like it constantly ebbs and flows like that.
Yeah.
I think it's very important to keep individualism
Hmm.
you are as a person. Because you can get so caught up that you can lose part of yourself. And when you lose part of yourself, how much of yourself can you actually pour into a relationship?
Yes.
Constantly trying to heal some of the things you have going on. So whether that be me taking a trip off into the mountains, like that's my church, that's my keepsake, that's my peace. Chan doesn't care for that too much, so I'm like, it gives him time to have his space or parallel play where we can be in the same room. He can be
Hmm.
learning something and I can be reading something, but we're still within the same vicinity without having to create the notion of conversation. Sometimes just the space of a person is enough. So having that space where we can truly atone to ourselves for a moment and then
Yeah.
come back with the fuller self is how we do it.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that our relationship works because, and it's worked this long because we allow each other to be individuals. Like, we were never the type of couple that had to be everywhere with each other.
Yeah.
Like till this day, we have separate friend groups. Like we honor like when I go off to school, for example. Sometimes I'm gone at a week at a time, and I really have to focus on school in that moment. I can't like be on the phone like all day every day. He understands that, and he works well in solitude. I think we both work really well in solitude. And that's something that's important to us, being able to invest in ourselves, build ourselves up so that we can bring our best selves to the table. In periods
Yeah.
where we don't get that time to ourselves, I feel like that's where we have friction. So I think that learning that you have to honor your time with your friends, honor your time with your family, honor your time with yourself so that you can be the best husband, partner, whatever you are.
Yes, yes. You have to find ways in which you can continuously pour into your cup, um, as well while you're in a relationship. And if connecting with friends, connecting with family, going for a hike, going for a swim, going to the gym, going to the movies by yourself, because I do it all the time. I love going to a movie solo, okay? But you have to do the things by yourself to fill your cup up so that you can have enough to overflow into your relationship, right? I've said this multiple times and I will continue to say this and I'll preach it to the cows come home or whatever the saying is, you know. But what's in my cup is for me. What
Mm,
comes out of my cup is for y'all. That is something that Iyanla said, and I took away from I think a Super Soul conversation that she was having with
get him
Oprah.
started on Super Soul
Yeah,
Sunday.
listen. I love a Super Soul, and so that is one thing that I took with me is that like I have to make sure that my cup is full in order for it to overflow to other people. And just because I'm in a relationship doesn't mean that you get to now take half of my cup. No, my cup still got to stay full, right?
Right.
And it still got to have that overflow. And
Mhm.
so it's really important for you to have that individualism still within your relationship because if not, right, like you are just going to be continuously pouring from an empty cup and no one is going to be able to survive from pouring from an empty cup in a relationship. It's just not going to happen. And
Yeah.
so I think it's important to be seen in that way and from your partner, right? But also from people that are looking from the outside in too. And so you all are now really a very visible couple, right? And so I'm wondering what are those parts of your relationship that people don't get to see, but also still mean the most to you all?
People don't get to see a lot. Like, I mean, I feel like people see like a snapshot of a part of our day. Cause even still, like a lot of the what we're known for is like our dinners or things like that, or like the
Yeah.
business. And like that is probably, like an hour of my day. Like I still have such a big life, and we have such a big life outside of social media. And we're actually very like private people too.
Hmm.
So it's like people don't really know a lot about the inner workings of our relationship, and I think that that's sacred to our marriage in a lot of different ways. And I feel like everybody don't know how to know everything. That's how you keep good things good. So yeah,
Hmm.
I feel like things that people it's weird because like if you think about it, I don't know a lot about my friends' relationships. Like I know what they want me to know about their relationships, and same about all the other couples that I know. So it's the same thing with us. It's just we are on a public platform that people will observe. I feel like that's the only different thing. But we have a very rich relationship outside of social media, and it's complex. And we've been together for 7 years, so I've known this man through so many. I've seen him grow up in a lot of different ways, and I've seen like what his personal battles are. I've
Hmm.
seen him get through those and like come out on the side a better person. Um, I know his strengths, I know his weaknesses, like intimately. So it's very complex because I feel like relationships are very deep.
I feel like that's a gateway question, only because it seems like today there's almost this expectation that whenever someone finds out like something new, it's almost like a gasp. But I'm like, who is pouring this information into you to where you're creating this level of expectation that you know me in my entirety. It's almost as if when people come up to us and, like they adorn us for what we do online and they talk to us, and I see myself as, just like anyone else. So I always
Chan
take a
Monty.
moment to conversation and be like, "What is your name?" Because I want to humanize the situation. Because
Yes.
I don't see this grandiose report. I'm like, from Angela Bassett to me, I don't see no difference besides a little money gap in experience.
A little bit of a money gap for sure. But yeah, we are authentic people, and we are the first people to say like, do not idolize anybody's relationship because you don't know what goes on in the background. And I've seen relationships up close and personal that people have idolized, and they've just been different behind closed doors. So I think with us, like what you see is what you get, but there's also a lot that you don't see as
Yeah.
Behind
well.
the scenes,
So
this takes work.
right.
Yeah.
It takes work, and the work has been done.
The
Yeah.
work has definitely been done for years. Like I mean, like when we first started dating, we were having like I mean, and still to this day, we have multiple hour-long conversations just about philosophy and personal
Because
growth
we're
and
constantly
our
changing.
dreams
Yeah.
and our future. And we're definitely not discussing our future with strangers on the internet because it's just like you don't know people's intentions.
Yeah.
So we keep plans to ourselves, and we pop out with announcements. Like nobody knew about the business, nobody knew about a lot of stuff that not happening until it happens. Then we're very public about it because, again, what you see is what you get, and we
Yeah.
don't hide anything. It's just if it comes up, it comes up.
Yeah. You know, a little off topic, but Monty, you put on Instagram, I think 1 or 2 weeks ago, it was like, not everything has to be an announcement.
Yeah.
And I was like, I took that. I took that with me and I held it with me because a lot of times, especially as creatives, you feel the pressure to announce you're coming, right? Announce what you are becoming, announce that you have arrived, announce every element in and part of like the project that you're working on or yourself. And so when I saw that, I was like, that was a moment that I needed, like something that I needed to see to be like, to take the pressure off of myself to announce that, like, this podcast is coming back because I get messages from people asking me, when's your podcast coming back? And I'm just like, it's going to come back when it
When
needs
it
to come back. You know
comes.
what I mean?
If there's one thing about it, two things for sure that I firmly believe in. Presence speak for itself.
Hmm.
So when you come back with it, when it's released, boom, it
Boom.
happened. What announcement needs to be made? The presence is already there.
The presence is already there.
That's it.
Yes, yes, the presence is already there. And, on that topic of presence, I appreciate you all being here. And I feel like, with your presence in this conversation, I have fallen in love with your relationship because of the authenticity, because of the work that you all have, done to strengthen your relationship. The energy, I can feel it and I can see it as well. And so, because, recipes go really well with some great stories, I know that you all have brought a little bit of a treat for us and a drink. And I'm excited to like dive into this next segment, which is focused around the drink that you all bought and a taste of you all, a taste with you all. So tell us a little bit about the drink that you brought with you.
So it's a holiday inspired drink. And then of course, we'll give you the pictures for it and the walkthrough recipe. But our favorite food is Asian food. So we fell in love with Thai tea. Thai tea is a very enriching dark tea that has a little bit of milk. You can associate
Hmm.
oat milk, whatever you want to use within it. So typically we'll take that and we'll freeze it in a glass just a little bit right at the bottom, and we'll put some cherries in it, and
Mm.
then also some garnishments. What is it? Like a few basil leaves. Leave that in the freezer. And then on top of that, once it's done in the freezer, we'll pour in our favorite champagne,
Mm.
almost like an Aperol spritz.
Hmm.
Is in, it creates like a little snow globe effect because, of course, the holidays are around the corner. Like
Yes.
bubbles, it's real cute.
Yes. It sounds like it's something that's light and airy,
It
right?
is. It
We love a
is
light and airy drink.
like a little
Uh,
brunch, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's
This,
nice.
this is a good drink to be making for. It sounds like when you've made like maybe that Christmas morning breakfast, or you're going to brunch, or before you go to brunch, you're getting yourself together,
Mhm.
and
get ready drink.
yeah, it's a good. There we go. A get ready drink. I was trying to figure out what is it called. A get ready drink, right? Like that's exactly what it
We
is.
love a
Right.
get ready drink.
A
Get you.
get ready drink. And so I'm curious about like your dinner series, right? And one, we'll come back to the drink, but also I want to dive into House Sanguine, right? And can you tell us a little bit about like its origin story, how it was created, where it came from, where the name came from, and where you all are with House Sanguine today?
So
So
basically, I
excited
do
to
this
hear.
thing called echolalia. Like if I hear a song, I'm gonna sing it. If I hear
Hmm.
somebody say a word, I'm gonna repeat it a couple of times until it sticks with
Hyperfixate
me.
on it.
We were definitely watching the show Greenleaf at the time, and I think it was Lady May. That's my girl. She had said something about sanguine. I said sanguine, and I started saying it around the house, and we just really adopted it and picked it up and go and say what it means.
And sanguine means to be optimistic in adversity. So, and through
That's
adversity.
right.
So, you know, that is literally our lives as gay black men, especially living
Hmm.
in the South, big business owners in the South, being landowners in the South. I mean, we have to deal with microaggressions all day, every
Mhm.
day to get what we have, we had to fight for it. But we still, nothing can destroy our joy, nothing can destroy our hope at the end of the day. So, you could say all the racist things, you could undermine me, but I'm still gonna have a smile on my face and walk into my purpose and my blessing. And I feel like that is literally what sanguine means, is to
How
hold your
sanguine.
head up high no matter how bad the situation
There
looks
it is.
and get whatever you're supposed to get out of the situation. So that is literally how our business started. And again, what was born on social media, we decided to have a Friendsgiving just this time last year, actually. House Language just turned like a year old. So we literally were just like, the world needs more joy right now. We are just now coming off of a really heavy election season. Like, we need community.
We need
So
community
I
more than
think
ever.
as we were thinking about what we wanted to name the first dinner, Sanguine just came through us because that was such a big part of our lives up until that point. So as we were thinking about names, it just came so naturally. And then we had our first event, and that event led to three events, and then all of a sudden we're in a flagship location
Yes.
in Uptown Charlotte, and just like in disbelief that this is even our lives. So, I mean, it happened very fast. We didn't even know if people were going to come to our first event. So, to now have an event space and to have a brand that I feel like is recognizable in our city, we literally just won
Hmm.
an award for it. Is like, it's been the most beautiful thing to witness.
It's very fulfilling, um, not just within the name, but how people have perceived the name
Yeah.
in our space. I started out doing like small bits of cooking for the Littleton Kitchen. That's where all the food comes from.
Hmm.
And then we decided, well, we need a system where we can bring in these other nuances that are connected to what sanguine means.
Hmm.
From so many people, we got picked up that this place makes them feel safe. The food
Yeah.
makes them feel nourished. And most importantly, it's a place where they get to come in and truly unmask. Like, you don't get to do that through your job. Sometimes you don't get to do that with your family. A
Yeah.
lot of places that we go in within Charlotte, we're two gay black men.
We
Um,
feel uncomfortable
yeah.
all the time
Yeah.
going
So
into places.
so like when people come into this space, they're like, "Oh my gosh, like I feel I can let my shoulders down. I feel like I can talk to y'all about anything." It's truly become an environment of full nourishment.
Hmm. We're an environment where you can bring your full self, right? I think that's extremely important to be in spaces where you are of company and you feel it as
Right.
well. And it sounds like that is something that you all have been able to curate.
Yeah.
for people of all expressions, all walks of life, all identities as well, to feel safe in that space, right? And that's what true community is. It's like creating a space where others feel belonged, feel safe, feel included.
Yeah.
And I want to also like pop back a second to, what you were saying, Chan, around it became something that just basically blew your minds. That was just outside of the sphere of which you were thinking of what you were creating, right? And so I think as creatives, especially as Black queer creatives, it is extremely important for us to be one, intentional, because you all were intentional. And without that intentionality, you weren't going to be able to create those systems. You weren't going to be able to be consistent. You weren't going to be able to really drive the creativity that you all developed. I don't want to say creative again. I'm like, dang, you saying creative too many times.
It's a very creative thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like you were going to be able to create the thing, right? And so I think it's really important to follow your heart, follow your gut, but also be
Absolutely.
intentional, and create those systems that are going to allow you to build what you all have been able to build, today.
Yeah.
And so I think that's extremely important. And so I hope that there are other Black queer creators or even melanated creatives that are out there and hear this and, understand that, like, yeah, like I need to put in the work, right?
Yeah.
Because, this could be something far greater, far more than, what I'm anticipating for myself. Um,
And yeah, I mean, and I think that that's a beautiful thing. And emphasis on putting in the work. I think a lot
mhm.
of people will see our lives, and again, they only see the highlights, so
Yeah.
they don't see me in grad school. Like I spend 30 hours a week studying business. Like our business is successful not by chance. It's like I post 3 videos a day for years to like get us to this point. Like we have made so many sacrifices. We practically lived in our business for like the first month to get it off of the ground. Like these are just the things that people don't see. It's very hard. It's a lot of work, and as long as you're willing to put in that work, I think anything is possible. But
Mhm.
rarely, I'm not gonna say rarely do people put in the work, but I'm like people. You just have to know it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And I think that's oftentimes what people don't understand or don't know. Now, going back to the drink, tell us the name one more time. And then also, I'm curious to know, how long do you keep the drink in the freezer? Because sometimes I may overfreeze or
That's real.
underfreeze. And so we want to make sure that it's getting to the right freeze.
Okay, that's real. I call it a Thai Aperol.
A Thai Aperol.
Mhm. We
Mm.
have it all the time because at first I made this drink with eggnog, but Chan doesn't drink milk. So I was like, well, let me try to include something a little bit different that's close to our heart. But if you pop it in the freezer, at least let it be long enough so everything at the bottom freezes. We shouldn't take that long. I say like 45 minutes to an hour, because you're only putting like this much Thai tea at the bottom of the cup because
Mhm.
the rest filled with champagne.
And also, I'm gonna tell the people out there too, not too much basil,
Not too
right?
much. Not
Not
too
too much
much.
basil because I done had some basil drinks and it was a little too basil-y.
Very aggressive. Yes.
Yeah, and it didn't
We
taste
go
good.
overboard. It's all
Yes,
about
Because that's a
balance.
strong flavor.
it is a very
I love
strong flavor. So not too much basil on that.
yes.
But I appreciate you all sharing this recipe, and the drink as well. I hope that some folks out there get a chance to make it. I know that I'm going to definitely make it, and I'm going to post some
Please tag
pics
us if
as
you
well.
do.
And I will make sure that I tag when I do, and y'all make sure y'all tag
That's
when
real.
y'all do. Okay. So I appreciate that, and I really love the drink. I think the flavors are going to really help people like bring out some memories during that time as well.
Yes.
I hope that they're able to do it not only with their partner but also with their families, especially around the season. But I want to shift us to a little bit more of some of your life lessons, right, and the becoming of your relationship. Um, you know, I'm gonna ask you this in kind of like an interesting way. And we were talking about ingredients, right? And I'm thinking about like the recipe, right? That has been created for your relationship to be so successful, if there was like one ingredient or a couple of ingredients that you can think of that have just made a really great recipe for your relationship.
Patience,
Oh, I was literally just about to say that.
Mm.
um, deep empathy, like not leaning so far into your own understanding about things
Hmm.
in your world, but truly perceive the world how your partner or other people do. Um,
Hmm.
Yeah. The you hit the nail on the head with the first two. Um, also,
Like I ain't even got to say nothing else at this
no,
point.
yeah, I
You
mean,
know, we in sync.
and it's just it's love. It's really like love is all encompassing. I do think that people oversimplify it.
Hmm.
Like you gotta love your partner when you don't like your partner. You gotta love your partner through the hard moments.
you gotta love
Also, you
yourself.
gotta love yourself. You gotta forgive yourself. You gotta be patient with yourself because the love that you show yourself also again relationships are mirrors. So it's just like if you are loving yourself well, then you're gonna see that in your partner. If
Yeah.
you're not loving yourself well, you're gonna see that in your partner.
Yeah.
And it can be very hard to like witness up close and personal. It's a very vulnerable thing. That's why I think relationships are so vulnerable because you literally see how you act through somebody else.
Your raw
Um,
form
yeah, so
test you.
I think that just remembering the love and loving often and killing your ego is
Ego
like
death.
something that you have to do often because I think we have big expectations for the people that we love, especially like our partners.
We do.
And sometimes you have to remember that that person is a human, just like you're a human,
Yeah.
and all the things that you're going through, they're also going through.
Yeah.
So I think that instead of pointing a finger, if you look inward and try to put yourself in their shoes more often, I think that it helps the relationship because you gain again more empathy.
I completely agree. You summed that up so well. And, when I think about that too, I'm thinking about like you as individuals, right? I'm wondering, like, what is something that Chan, Monty taught you, and Monty, Chan taught you that you did not know that you needed, right? In your relationship.
That's easy for me. Chan taught me to live
Mm.
because for so long, as with a lot of us do, we live in a survivalist state of
Oh.
mind based off of the things that we grew up with. So having a soft space where I can fully be adorned with my full self and be appreciated for it. And then also a challenge. Love is supposed to challenge you to
Hmm.
growth and also usher you into growth. And then also watch you stumble a little bit, but never let you fall.
Mm.
So we've gotten so used to doing that with one another. I couldn't see me doing that with anybody else because the safety component is where I learned it at within this relationship with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Monty, he taught me how to is teaching me how to breathe um, and not take things so seriously and is teaching me how to be a more empathetic person and a
Yeah.
more kind person, a more loving person because being somebody that has a lot of structure, being someone that has high expectations, I have found that I get disappointed a lot and I feel like having somebody teach me that it's not always that deep. Sometimes people are going through their own journeys, and you have to really, you know, not view everything as a personal attack and like more so as like a projection. So I think that just getting me out of my head and just allowing me to be a more graceful person is something
Hmm.
I've learned through this relationship and how to extend more grace and more love to people even when you like don't feel like it. So
Like I said, I'm
Yes.
walking through the journey in between um, those those the journeys to get to the destination. I feel like so many people get so caught up with the all right, well, I'm at the destination. What's next? I'm like, you're missing the life in between. Let's enjoy the life in between for whatever it looks like.
Hmm.
Literally.
I'm looking forward to the very next day. I'm looking forward to the next hour. Like, what was next, and then what did I learn from it? And
Yeah.
just having those celebrations in between, the
There's a
little
flower
details.
that could like float across the screen,
And
and
what's
Monty will
next?
find like so much beauty out of that.
Straight up.
Yeah.
I am going to be honest, I wouldn't notice the flower, but Monty has taught me how to notice the little things in life.
Yeah.
Um, and it's become beautiful because then you wake up to just how beautiful life can really be if you just like open your eyes.
Yeah. And that's beautiful. You know, I have just appreciated this conversation so much with you all because you all have just given me so many gems, so many things that I can take back and think about from my own relationships and how I'm navigating dating and this moment and this season that I'm in, but also reflecting on some of the past experiences that I've had in long term relationships. And I've had multiple long term relationships. And so just thinking about how differently I could have navigated them, but also like both of us could have navigated those relationships if we would have just simply communicated. And I think
That's
what I have
everything.
gotten mostly out of this conversation is the importance of communication. I can tell and I can see that you all communicate often. And it has probably been not something that came easily, right? In the beginning, right? But it's a skill that you have exercised and that you have practiced and that you have mastered. I think at this point in your relationship to be able to communicate effectively with one another, openly, with grace, and with love. And I think that's extremely important. And it's the reason why this podcast exists is because these conversations and these stories are extremely important for people to be able to see and experience that say like, yeah, this is an option for me. I can find this in a person, but we both have to be in agreement that this is something that we want to navigate together. And I just love that. I appreciate that. I love that you all were a part of this episode as well. Before we go, I want to ask you all just one last question. This is a question that I ask all of my guests: is what is something that you are currently unboxing in the season of your life right now?
I think for me, I feel like I'm unboxing a more heightened sense of spirituality and what that means as far as my sensitivity to the awareness around me and
Hmm.
energies and how I can mitigate that and not take those on as my personal onus. Going through sabbaticals just to have more clarity. It's a lot of shit going on out in this world. So I just want
Hmm.
to have a clear minded view of that space that I feel like, you know, we're taking on leadership positions here. So I want to make sure that we're at our fullest potential and what that looks like from a mental and spiritual standpoint.
Yeah. I feel like I'm unboxing my whole life. Like, I feel like this has been a transformative year for me. I feel like I am in a transformative season right now. Everything that I have known has been ripped under my feet within the past like month. From, I just was laid off from my full time job, so I'm stepping into a season of full entrepreneurship. I'm about to graduate from grad school. I feel like our marriage is now we're literally like we've crossed that threshold of like now we're in a mature relationship, and like he's
Hmm.
literally my partner in all things. So it's just like how are we now? Like, we didn't have a business in this capacity last year. So it's like now we have something that can really sustain us and sustain our families.
Yeah.
So it's just like, how are we going to grow this? How are we going to grow ourselves? How are we going to give back to the community? Like just really thinking through what are the things that are important to us? What are things that are holding us back that we need to release? Like really unboxing so many different elements of our lives just to become better men. I think
Mhm.
is the goal. I think that that's something that we're overwhelmingly aligned on. We just want to be the best men possible. So, whether it's for our families, for each other, to the places that we work, we just want to show up as our best selves. And everything that we do is to ladder up to that. So,
Yes. I just appreciate, the vulnerability that both of you all have, shared, on the podcast today. I thank both of you for being here. I thank you for the humor, child, the love, the honesty, and like I said, the vulnerability that you've expressed on the podcast and unboxing these conversations with me today. So thank you both for being here. Go ahead and shout out your social handles and where people can connect with you.
First and foremost, How Sanguine on IG and howsanguine.com. And
Mhm.
then my social is M_WAZ, his name on Instagram.
and mine are Chan daily across literally everything. So, um, and yeah, we appreciate y'all for listening to our story and for checking out How Sanguine. It really is like a labor of love to us. So we're very proud of our baby, especially now that it's turned 1. And we can't wait to see what this next few years look like for us.
And for those of you navigating any type of relationship, first and foremost, always navigate your journey first and do your
Mhm.
part. Come in it whole,
Yeah.
and then the rest will follow. Because if you go looking for it, it's not going to be received, but it will find you at your highest self.
Amen.
Yes. Amen. Amen. Well, thank you both for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you all for listening to the podcast. You know where to find us, but if you don't, you can find us on all platforms at Love Unboxed. You can also find me at I am Manny Made on Instagram and TikTok. Thank you for listening. We'll see you again next time.